We're a Choice Hotel Group in Ireland. We've been around since 1998. At one stage of our existence, we were maybe the largest hotel operator with 4,500 rooms. We've gone through various variations in sales in the first 15 years, which resulted in me in 2016 going out on my own and trying to reinvent the group after a sale to Dalata. Today we have 5 hotels across the island, and we're looking to add more as we move forward. So I've been working on and off on different projects with Capitalflow. The most recent one is the Walter Raleigh in Youghal, which is our third project with Capitalflow. We've been working with them over the last 6-7 years. So we chose Capitalflow as our finance partner after our first meeting with them, to be honest. We met, I had a meeting with Shane Flood when we were in the market looking for people that would support small businesses like our own. Pretty much similar to startups in some way, even though we had a long history. It was like a clean slate. And after meeting Shane, totally felt that this was going to be an easy process, that he understood the business really well. I think I've mentioned him to a couple of other people I recommended and said he's the one person that we sat with that actually got our business and understood what we were trying to do as a smaller operator in the market space. To be fair, the ease of work Capitalflow is probably their biggest selling point. So you've got people that are really serious bankers, that understand the market, that you're definitely, as a small entrepreneur trying to build a business, you want somebody that gets you, but also that you're not going to be able to pull the wool over their eyes, right? You're going to have to work hard at your P&L later. They give you a value to your business. They add a backup value as well, because to be fair, anywhere we've been when we've gone in looking at other projects and we mention Capitalflow as a potential funding partner, we always get a really good response. So I found that working with them ease a transaction. They work with really great solicitors in the background, which makes the process really good. We do too. We use Beecham's. Even as a small operator, they're a big, really good firm, very professional. So we find them ease of product, very professional, and their support services on the way through the process are really, really good. Yeah, so I suppose anyone that's in our space will understand that if you're looking for finance, and we were very lucky to do 3 deals initially with Capitalflow and Hotel Woodstock in Shoreline and Donabate, and now the Walter Raleigh in Cork, they allow us to achieve 2 things. They give us the power of the money to go and get an asset that we're really interested in. So that's number one. The second thing that they do is then they support your business plan over a 3 or a 5 year period. We know and understand how they make money, and they know and understand how we're trying to make money, and they give us the ability or the leverage to go and do that. And then I think thirdly, they know that within the space, if we can do a good enough job in the P&L, that we may get them into traditional banking, which is obviously a goal for us then at the end. But they're extremely important to us, to our startup and our model. Our model is really about finding hotels within spaces that need development, that need more work through the P&L, that need more sales. And there's really not many that offer support to that in our market. Capitalflow are definitely the best for that. We're in the people industry, so if you were asking me what makes them stand out, I would say they're people. We've dealt with Killian, we've dealt with Shane, we obviously know some of the senior team throughout Capitalflow, but anyone that we interact with, even on governance and later on through the loans, on your annual reviews, they're not trying to burden you with work. They're trying to work with you, but definitely the relationship through people. They're really, it's not easy going, because I don't want people to think that they're easy, but they are really smooth, easy operators, and they get you. I think for us in hospitality, it's a tough business. Not a lot of people understand how it operates, but they're really genuinely good people, and they're consistent. So another thing that's important to us is that when we're in a relationship with somebody or a partnership with somebody, that the people are consistent through their business as much as they are through ours. I'm in it, I own it, I'm trying to drive it and make it bigger, but it's great to, we see the same faces, the same names anytime we do a deal. So that's really important. They're obviously good with people because they retain their people on their side as well. And that's extremely important for me, to be able to pick up the phone, bounce potentially an idea off Killian or Shane or whoever it is within the team I'm assigned, and get their kind of opinion on it or where they see it fits. and they don't mess around. Like if they don't like a project, they tell you, and if they don't like it and we like it, you're kind of going, okay, that doesn't make it a right project, and we go back and look at it again. So I would say the biggest thing is the people and ease of doing business. For me personally, the biggest benefit is I really think after the 3 transactions, they understand their business. And for me, going to them and talking to them about a potential project, it's much easier than going to the market and trying to sell myself and explain. And trust me, I've done that a million times. But to do it with somebody that already has built up some faith in you and your model, and know that if you're presenting something that potentially you're going to deliver, I would say that they feel like that about me, and I definitely feel like it's easier to talk to them. Which means that sometimes we don't run a process, because we know that we're going to get good value with them. We know that they'll work with us on making a better project, but we also know the parameters of doing business with them, and they make that very, very clear to us. You know, we're in a space where we're looking to grow, but we don't want to be stupid. So we've worked really hard to build the 5 assets that we have and the business model that we have. Our debt is actually quite low across our assets, so we don't want to put that at risk. That's all happened in the past. We've all gone through that model. We don't want to do that again. I think for us, prudency, availability of cash is extremely important, and having a partnership is really important. So we want them to be funding hospitality, to look at the longer view. So not taking, you know, at the moment hospitality is going through a tough time, there's no doubt about it. I've been saying it now for a year. I don't believe it's overly affecting the room side of the business, but definitely food and beverage is more challenged than it was in the past. But I think that's a customer change, not a problem per se with the business. Capitalflow, when I've sat with them, they're interested in your opinion of what's happening in the market. So we want them to hold a long-term view, keep funding hospitality, which is extremely important, and keep backing the smaller guys. Keep backing the smaller guys, because there's nobody, the Irish banks don't want to back a small guy starting off. That's just not an opportunity. So what stood out to me, Jordan, for my experience with the Capitalflow team is predominantly the people that they work with and their interest in our industry. I went into the industry at the age of 15. I've 30 odd years experience at this stage. The one thing that I found in our industry is quite complex. So anytime I sit in front of banks or in front of funders or in front of potential companies that we work with, their interest in our industry is low. I never felt that, to be fair, with any of the team in Capitalflow. I always felt that it was engaging. I always felt they were asking you challenging questions to find out more, even to help them in their role when they were dealing with other hospitality companies. And we're a long-term fund. Like, we are not, we're a position that needs to be funded over a 5-10 year, and you need to take a bigger outlook on hospitality than just 1 or 2 years. So I would say that the one thing I found was the level of experience that they bring, the technique in terms of how they deal with your industry, and then the professionals that back them up. So anyone that we've worked with, we've been lucky enough, I think, to work with Philip Lee on most of our 3 positions, and we found them extremely professional to deal with and very straight, and working from the off to make sure that it's successful, not looking to trip you up. I think sometimes a lot of the professionals that are appointed are interested in the fee, which is, we're all in it for the money, so it's very important, but they're not as interested in the objective or the outcome. And for us, we felt that from day one, when they say yes to us, that they're interested in doing this, they work really hard to help us achieve our objective. Now, I understand that they get their objective, but I'm only interested in my objective, and if they back that, that's extremely important to me. Like in our sector, they'd be the first ones I recommend, and I have done to many people. And I've actually recommended them recently to another friend of mine in a completely different sector, where he's in the middle of refinancing with somebody, and I said, look, you've got to talk to these guys. Not even for if they don't, it's not an industry they're interested in, or you don't end up doing something with them, they will most definitely, the half an hour you have with them or the cup of coffee will definitely put you on the right steps to whoever you do end up with, or it'll give you some questions or challenges. I have no hesitation in recommending them, and certainly none in our industry, because I think I said it earlier, but there's not many that understand hospitality or that actually buy into it as an industry. Capitalflow are one of the few that do, and we're grateful for that. Financial solution being tailored to our needs normally means that we put in less cash, right? And that the funder puts in more cash. That's not a perfect relationship. as much as we would have wanted that, greatly in the early noughties, everyone sought the more that could be funded, the better. I think there's lessons to be learned. And I may have said it earlier, but the one thing with Capitalflow is they were extremely clear from the outset of their objective. So this is what we're willing to fund, this is how we're willing to fund it, and this is to the maximum that we will fund. Now, if you can make that work with your model, we're interested in talking to you and seeing can we get a solution or hit the same objective. When you're looking for funding, that's not the most important thing you want to hear, but it actually is the most important thing you want to hear. Because if you can't afford the equity gap, you shouldn't be doing the deal. And most importantly, if you can't fund the position after you buy the equity because of the debt, again, the asset's gonna fail or fall over. We don't want that. Capitalising our assets is extremely important. So understanding the gap between funding and your equity and your need from cash flow post the transaction is very good. Capitalflow were really clear from day one that we will look at the asset, but here's the parameters that we look at them in. And if that doesn't work for you, we're not the funder for you. And that seems, if you're struggling to get cash, that's a hard thing to hear. But if you're not and you're looking for the right partner, that's an extremely important message. And I would say that to anyone looking for funding, I got it from Dermot Crowley in Dalata. When I went out on my own, I explained to him after our deal we were going to do it. Dermot was very clear to say, look, I've one bit of advice I give you. Make sure you can capitalise your business post any transaction. So debt is important, but not at the behest of your asset or your position in it. So Capitalflow made that clear and are excellent to deal with on that basis.